Welcome to another age 1 to 100 video. With summer already here, today we're going to show you how to get lean and burn fat effectively. With me here today I have Marcel, who's going to walk us through that process. How's it going, man?
Good. Easily one of the sought out results in all of fitness, you can look this up in the internet, is people want to know how to burn fat. Now in ATG we have a program that's completely designed for that, which is the ATG Shred program. Because if people have an understanding as to the process that we go through when the body actually burns fat, well then you can actually program and do exercises that are going to help cause those effects into the body so that then you can lose weight. Burning fat has various different stages. And the very first one is where the body actually releases the fat that it has stored into the bloodstream so it can get burned. When we understand what are the different things that trigger that, which allow us to then use the fat that we have in circulation to burn it, then we can go ahead and try to kind of force the body into that stage so that then we can start the process of burning fat. Now, there's various different signals that cause that, but the one that ATG Shred targets is the production of a hormone called growth hormone.
So what is growth hormone?
Growth hormone has various different functions. It has functions to be able to spare lean muscle mass, let's say when you're fasting. It also helps with muscle growth. But growth hormone also has a signaling to the fat cells to start this process. It's actually one of the keys to sort of trigger that first phase of fat burning where fat gets released into the bloodstream.
So if the goal is to elevate growth hormone, how would we go about doing that?
All right, so Connor's going to start giving us a little bit of a demonstration here. But there's various signals that the body pays attention to in order to be able to produce growth hormone. One of them is actually from the muscle contracting consistently without enough oxygen. Now, at the start of an exercise, you'll have plenty of oxygen, and so you won't really feel much of a burn. A lot of people that work out are very familiar with that burning sensation. There's various things that cause that to occur, but the muscle cells are essentially contracting as he's pressing up. As the muscle continues to do that, one after the other, it starts increasing its need for oxygen, but the body isn't fast enough to get the oxygen in. A lot of people are familiar with anaerobic exercise, which is just exercise that you don't have enough oxygen in circulation. So once we can see he's starting to slow down and tremble, so this is the point where we want to focus at. So there he burned out.
I can take that from you.
Thank you. So if we take a second, his quad muscles have contracted so much at this point that there's a very significant burn. Now that burn is a byproduct of lactate being increased. So when the muscle actually fires and uses body energy, its byproduct is a production of lactate. With those elevated levels of lactate, the body then has a signal to then increase growth hormone. So when you're doing these types of exercises, like HIIT is also a very good example, where it's very stressful, you're producing a lot of muscle contractions, lactate production goes up, and then the body responds with an increased level of growth hormone. Once lactate does break that point where it's beyond normal, then we produce growth hormone, and that is the way that we can manipulate our hormone response to our exercise so that then we can effectively burn fat.
That makes sense. I mean, everything you said makes sense, and it seems complicated, but once you explain it, it's actually pretty simple.
Yeah.
The most important thing, though, is how did it feel for you? Is what he said what you're feeling in your legs?
Yeah, I'd say it's quite accurate. At first, like you said, it feels just regular, totally fine, but then you just feel something totally different after. Like, it feels uncomfortable, like a good sensation, because you know you're getting everything out of it when you're working, and you definitely get out of breath, and it's making you work harder.
Right. So that aspect of where he's out of breath, unable to breathe smoothly, his muscles are in need of oxygen, doesn't have it, is continuing to contract, lactate production goes up, growth hormone gets the response.
Good. Okay, Marcel, so now that we understand the science behind that, let's just jump straight into the workout, which is ATG Shred. And as a fun fact, it is available in the app now, right?
That's right.
Good.
So we're going to go ahead and walk the viewer through what could be a shred workout. So Marley, unfortunately, has to be the demonstration here. So this workout is going to be a shred type approach to upper body training in this superset. So right now we're going to have him do dips. He's going to be working on doing a 4-second down eccentric and then pressing up. So a 4-0-XO tempo, and he's going to be going for 6 reps. Now in this set, he's working his pecs, he's working his triceps, and the dip is such a, how can you say, it's a compound exercise that it really challenges the body throughout. Once he's done with that, he's going to go ahead and go straight into his chest press here without any rest. So remember when I told you about the lack of oxygen, we are actually trying to manufacture that situation. So here he goes. This time he's going to be going for 12 reps with the 2-second eccentric. So as he continues to go through the sets, your strength is starting to get depleted and your ability to control the weight goes down. So he really has to start firing that muscle. It's getting overwhelmed. Triceps again, chest again, and he's likely going to already be feeling this burning sensation in his arms and his chest. So once he gets through these 12 reps, fall through, good? Okay, good. So now, no worries. So now, without any rest, he's going to go ahead and do push-ups. Now, you've probably seen 3 exercises back to back to back that is training his triceps and his chest. Now, we're seeing he's completely tanking. That is exactly what we want to go for. Your muscles will not have any option but to give out. Once he reaches that point, because here he's supposed to do 20 reps, he's going to regress the movement and do it at a slightly earlier level so that he can continue to work through the exercise, get a crazy burn, produce that lactate increase in his body, and then at the end of the set, his growth hormone is really going to start getting stimulated and going into circulation.
Which is why you mentioned going on your knees. Someone may look at it and be like, why is he going on his knees?
Right.
The fact that you did dips, chest press, and then straight to this, you're firing all these muscles.
Yeah,
there.
I mean, anyone that does this workout, I don't care how strong your bench is, if you are challenging yourself on the dip, if you are challenging yourself on the bench press, doing 6 reps on dips, 12 on bench press, you're not going to have an option. Your muscles just will not be able to continue to fire. How many reps did you get there?
I lost count, to be honest.
Okay,
good.
good.
It's probably around 29.
Now,
I cannot do anymore.
So how do you feel? When you went through that set, what did you feel?
Oh, complete muscle burn, but not like pain or anything.
That's right.
So it's a lot of blood flow, a lot of circulation, pumped up, and it felt great. But definitely, you start hitting a wall.
That's right.
The first few reps, you're like, oh, this is easy. Then towards the end, you're like, I can't lift my fucking arms up.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So yeah, but it felt like great, no pain. Obviously, you're trying to push past the point of where your body's saying like, okay, stop, you're done.
Right.
You're trying to push past that, and yeah, it makes it much more difficult.
That's awesome. So that's essentially the type of situation we're trying to create with the Shred program. Mind you, this was one superset. In the ATG Shred program, different workouts have multiple sets of this. And not only that, but your rest between sets is timed. So you won't actually be able to get enough oxygen back. We're going to maximize the production of lactate from overfiring the muscles without oxygen. And then growth hormone at the end of that workout is going to be going through the roof.
Well, speaking of that, I'm sure someone watching it will probably wonder, what should your eating schedule look like and also sleep schedule look like?
Well, if we're trying to maximize fat burn, right, because we're trying to get into that summer body, during this time period, the best thing you can do is try to eat as clean as possible. Even if you kind of falter in different areas, this workout is so effective that it's still going to produce really good results. And it's not only for fat loss, you are going to get strong from it. But if you add on to the fire that he is exposing his body to with this workout, with a clean diet, whether it's that you're eating, animal products, you're having plenty of salads, broccoli, just a healthy whole food diet, and you get enough sleep, because most of the fat burning, most people don't know, but that is during the sleep period, making sure you have 7 to 8 hours, that's also going to just keep adding to that fat burning furnace that he's creating for the period of time that he goes through this program.
Love it. Good work, dude.
Sweet, thanks.
Okay, Marcel, so now we're going to be going through an example of what a lower body session could look like on the program, right?
Right. So if we wanted to program for a shred type workout for the lower body, it would look something like this. So he's going to go ahead and do 6 reps, very similar to the dips. He's doing 6 reps at a 4.0 exo tempo with a weight that's going to challenge him. So he's going nice and slow. His muscles are already firing. It's starting to build up that burn. And then immediately after he's done with these 6 reps, he's going to go into another exercise that is going to target those muscles there in his quads, the knee extensors. So here he's just gonna wrap up, last couple reps.
That's it.
There it is. So he's done 6 reps. Now without any rest, because remember, we're looking for that lack of oxygen.
Yeah.
He's gonna go ahead and go into walking lunges. This is another example. So you see his legs are already tired and his ability to fire them off are going to be heavily undermined just from the stress that he's already subjected to the squat. And he's gonna go for 12 reps here on the walking lunge.
It's funny too, in addition to it being a crazy workout, you know, you get the complaint of like, I don't want to be in the gym for 2 hours. You're in here for 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You're going to get the craziest workout of your life.
Yeah, to finish a shred workout, it really doesn't take long because you don't have an option on your rest. So you go from one set to the next, and you really kind of fly through the workout. So now he's going to finish off with 20 reps on a VMO squat. You can already hear him, he's breathing, his legs are firing, they're nice and pumped up full of blood. And that burning sensation, again, is going to signal to the brain, hey, there's an increased level of lactate that it's not supposed to be at that level. We're going to go ahead and increase growth hormone as a corrective measure. And that growth hormone is then going to open the doors for all his fat cells to release into the bloodstream and also to preserve his muscle mass and develop more strength.
Good. And let's say someone's working through this routine and they choose a weight where they have to take rest at the top. They should probably choose a weight where no rest occurs, right? Because it's a 1-0 exo.
That's exactly right. Ideally, you complete all the reps that are called for, which is why we show that if a regression is needed, you go ahead and you do it right away, because the goal is to finish out the reps and really get that burn going. So Connor, how's that?
Nothing like I've ever done before.
Yeah. How do your legs feel?
It's really hard to even explain how difficult it is.
Yeah.
Like Quentin said, it's so effective, and you can get through it very quickly, the workouts, because there's no break.
Did you experience any kind of a burn?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Like, everything in my quads.
Scale of 1 to 10, how bad was it?
Like at 11. So it's like very challenging.
Yeah.
I mean, you feel good. It kind of makes you want to eat healthy, too, because you don't want to have all that good work go to waste.
That's exactly right. It's totally right. So there it is. That would be an example of how we would do an ATG shred workout for the lower body. And you can do this for all different areas of the body. We could do it for the back. We can do it for the posterior side, the hamstrings, the quads, the arm flexors. So we could do chin-ups, rows. That kind of planning programmed out could make a really killer fat burning workout.
And generally speaking, you know, obviously he went through back squats to walking lunges to VMO squats with no rest break in between. At the end of it, because you're doing another set or another 2 sets or however many there are, what would your rest time be in between sets?
It would not be a lot. You wouldn't do something like a 5-minute break. You really want to limit the time between sets because, again, the purpose of programming is to be able to accomplish a specific goal. So if the goal is to try to increase lactate production as a result of constantly contracting, then you can program your sets, you can program your rest in order to allow the body to more easily get into that state. So in something like this, where we're trying to get the body moving, we're trying to get to that burn sensation, we're trying to get that lactate up, you're not going to want to allow yourself to fully recover and get the oxygen back in circulation, because then that's going to cut the lactate response. Therefore, it cuts the growth hormone response.
Good. You ready for another set?
Nope.
And that's the thing, most people would not be ready for another set, but it's just relentless.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so the ATG Shred program was actually inspired by Charles Poliquin, who was one of Ben's mentors in fitness training. And he had a very famous program called GBC. Now, it is a very extreme program, but what we've done is we've looked at it, we've broken it down to a more approachable way where more people can participate in that kind of training in a very safe manner and do it in a structurally balanced way. That said, ATG Shred is easily one of the most advanced programs that we have in ATG. And as we could see what Connor did, what Marley did, these guys are really pushing their body to the point where you might experience failure. So before you do a program like that, I would recommend that you at least have some time really building that pain-free foundation, because then getting structurally balanced, the body's going to be able to take on the stress you're experiencing at high levels in a correct manner. You're not going to be trying to compensate for imbalances or weaknesses that you have, And so then therefore you can really smash the body through a workout like shred without much concern. That said, you could scale everything down to whatever you can do at your pain-free level, and we would help you in the app to figure out how it is that you could do that. But ideally, that is when you would do something like shred, is when you're feeling good, pain-free, you can get through squats easily, you can get through dips easily, and then that way you can really stimulate the body to go through a brutal workout like that.
Makes sense. Marcel, I appreciate you taking us through that workout. It's pretty intense, but the beauty and kind of like what you mentioned before is that it can be scaled. So if someone does it online, which is obviously what we're delivering, an online program, someone could scale back those exercises, take it lighter and make it not as insane, but then progressively work your way up. That's
correct. I
correct.
mean, our coaches would help you through that every step of the way.
Well, speaking of coaching, we are actually now offering that program on the ATG app. We're doing it in a structurally balanced way, as Marcel pointed out here. And again, it's going to be on our app. It's called ATG Shred, and I'd love for you guys to do it.
Yeah, and if you actually want to learn the theories behind our different programs, you would actually be joining us at atgforcoaches.com, where we will be getting coaches certified in all these different methods and being able to deliver ATG training to your clients.
Perfect. Well, we'll see you in the next video.